Okay. So to explain the high-level architecture of the BI intelligence as it happens in the industries, it starts with gathering the data from various sources. Like you're seeing here, it may be a relational database management system, or it might be some Excel or flat files, and it might be some other kind of data like the transaction data from the banks, the SAP form of data, or even the data from the web. So all this data together, it is brought into one stage, and here it is done ETL upon. And ETL is basically extract, transform, and load. And this is what we call as the staging environment. Here we clean the data, and here we transform the data, and here we load the data into the data warehouse. And the data warehouse is the collection of techniques and also the tools wherein all the data which is required for the project is stored in maybe some of the tools like, let's say, Azure Synapse, or Azure Data Factory, or maybe the tools, or it may be sometimes SQL database as well. Okay. So data warehouse, basically it contains the total data which is required for you to carry out any kind of analysis. And here it contains the historical data, or let me say archived data, and also the data which keeps coming on day basis or week basis or monthly basis, which I mean is new data. Okay. And here what we do is there are subsets which are created from the data warehouse, and these subsets we call them as data marts. For example, if let's say data warehouse, it will be consisting of the total data. And when I say total data, in the sense the metadata, it might be consisting metadata in the sense it is the data which gives you the information about the data. Okay, it might be having the daily grain data, the summary level data. Basically, it contains complete data. And let's say for your project, you need only the data related to, let's say, sales or marketing or employees. So you will create specific tables from the data warehouse where you get in the information only about your specific domain, like sales, marketing, finance. And those data marts, or let's say those specific tables or views, you get into BI tools like, say, Power BI or Tableau, ClickSense, and there you do the ultimate reporting. And this reporting is finally shown to the business end, which makes the decision of business end simple. Hope it is clear about this particular architecture. Yes?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So, so this is what the business intelligence is. Raw data, wherever you find, is hard to read and draw conclusions from. And hence BI tools are used to convert the raw data into the business data, which is the visual form of the data, which is easier to make inferences from. Okay. And some of the BI tools that are predominantly used in the market scenario are Power BI, Tableau, ClickView, Alteryx, MSBI, SAP BI, and there are some other things like Spotfire, and there's also the thing like ClickSense. Okay, so various BI tools are there, and among those BI tools, Power BI is widely used BI tools, or we can say it's a number one used BI tool. Number one in terms of the usage. Okay, it is high, very predominantly used compared to anything else in this. Okay, so Power BI, basically, it has recently developed more demand due to some of its capabilities with respect to other softwares. So first of all, it has the ability to get connected with more than 150 plus data sources, and then it has the ability to get in. Interconnected with Microsoft's other components like Microsoft Outlook 365 and Teams, and basically the softwares which comes with Microsoft package. Okay. Now, Power BI is not a single component, but it is a stack of components. And those are the Power BI desktop, Power BI service. Desktop is a desktop app, and Power BI service, we can say, is a SaaS or cloud-based application. And then we have Power BI mobile app, but mobile app, we will not use to make any sort of development in mobile app. Mobile app is used just to reviewing the existing developed content. Okay. Then you have Power BI servers, and this will be installed in the server computers, whether, I mean, basically they're on-premise or local servers. And yes, there's also Power BI report builder, which is used to build paginated reports. And there's one other software also which is used to build the paginated reports specifically, which is called as SSRS. And paginated report, it is different compared to the normal report in the sense that paginated report is used to mainly show the numbers and the tables. Okay, not much of visualizations are used there. And also paginated reports, every data, it fits in one single page. So that's why it's called as paginated report. Okay. So this is one specific software, that is Power BI report builder, to build the paginated reports. Okay. So the same thing is explained here in Power BI desktop. What we can do is we will do most of the things in Power BI desktop itself. And in fact, we do the ETL, we get the data, we do the ETL, we model the data, we visualize and analyze the data. And as far as the development activities is concerned, complete development will be done in Power BI desktop. And then later in Power BI service, we just publish, share, and collaborate our work. Okay. And as far as Power BI mobile app is concerned, it is used just to reviewing the content. So this is about the usage of different components of Power BI. Okay. Then the building blocks of Power BI. This I explained in the last class. So the data sets, and when we say data sets, we mean the actual data along with its transformations and modeling which has been done. So these are the data sets. For example, if we look into, let me just share this. Okay. Okay. So now I have opened the Power BI service where I have stored most of the work which we have done here. And let me show you how the data set looks like. If I open the Power BI service, you can see that here there are specific icons beside each of these. Now this particular icon means data set. And if you look into data set, it basically will be having the tables. If I, let's say, start creating a report out of that, then you'll be, yeah. Can you see this? There'll be tables in this, specific tables. And these are the columns in here, which are visible beneath the title of these tables. And here we can create the report out of these tables. Okay. So this is how a data set will look like. And as far as the visualizations is concerned, the visualizations will be, if you go to any report in this case, for example, I'll go to this one again. And here, this icon basically is a report. And if I open a particular report, the report pages will be open. And here you can see these visualizations. These are, let's say, the donut chart, the bar chart, the line charts, the geographical map chart. These are all the visuals. These are also the building blocks of Power BI. And the tiles, in the sense, one particular visual is called as one tile. For example, this is one particular tile in this. Okay. This again is a one particular tile. This is also one tile. So these individual visuals, we call them also as individual tiles, which are again the building blocks. And the report, which I opened just now, this whole report, which consists of 2 pages, is also a building block of Power BI. And finally, if we talk about the dashboards, usually in industry, reports and dashboards are synonymously used to describe the same. But in Power BI, or to be specific, in Power BI service, reports are different compared to dashboards. For example, if I have this report, at the top of each and every visual, you can see pin. And if I pin this visual, it will ask me, where do you want to pin this? So I want to pin it in existing dashboard, which is sales dashboard. Okay, let me pin something else as well. For example, this particular visual, I'll pin this into the existing dashboard as too. And now, if I go to that dashboard, if you see there is a dashboard, sales dashboard, the dashboard will contain the different visuals which are pinned from different reports. Okay, so that's how a dashboard is different than existing report. Dashboard is one single page, whereas the report may contain n number of pages. Okay, and dashboard mainly has the visuals which you have pinned from different reports. So this is about building blocks of Power BI. Any doubt with respect to this?
So just one question. So you're saying the dashboard is basically the pins from the different reports, right?
Yeah, individual visuals from different
Yeah.
reports. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because
As far as Power BI is concerned, but generally, as I said, in industry, dashboards and reports are the terms used synonymously to describe the same. Okay, so you have to be careful while using this in Power BI. In Power BI, dashboards and reports are different. Okay.
yeah, because I've worked on Tableau, and then on Tableau you create your dashboard by itself, right? You get your elements from your worksheet and so on to create that.
Yes.
Which is similar to the reports in this case, right?
Yeah.
In Power. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So that's about the building blocks of Power BI. And if we go, if we look at the GUI of Power BI, let me open a particular report for that sake. Okay. So whenever you open any Power BI report from your Power BI desktop application, so we basically have 3 views in this. The view that you're seeing right now, this is called report view, in which basically we'll be having the reports or the visuals, which will be visible like this. Okay. And on the right side of the pane, you can see there are different queries or tables which are out of which this report has been made. Okay, so those will be visible. And this is the report view. And if we go to the next view, that is the data view, we will be taken to the place where we can see the individual tables and their column names. And also we can figure out what kind of data type each column has. Okay. And then, so this is about the data view. And finally, we have the model view, where we can see the ER diagram or the model diagram of our model. So how each and every table is connected, how the fact table is connected to dimension, whether it's a snowflake or a star schema, you can have a look at that, and what's the cardinality, what are the cross filter directions, you can look into this. So this is about the model view. So there are three views. One is the report view, then there is data view, where you can see the tables, and then there is model view. Okay, so these three are the basic three views in Power BI. Any doubts with respect to that? Okay. Then we will look into one very important thing, which is Power Query Editor. Now, Power Query Editor is an ETL tool within Power BI. And although it does not have the complex ETL capabilities like some other tools like the Azure or Informatica has, but this also can be used to do the simple transformations as and when necessary within Power BI itself. And it's called Power Query Editor. And we'll go in deep with this. Right now, you don't worry about this. I'll make sure this will be discussed in very much detail. Okay. So we'll look into the basic workflow as far as the business intelligence, or also to be precise, Power BI is concerned. So here what we do, we connect to different data sources, we transform that data, we model that data within Power BI, and then we'll create the calculated columns or measures that we need to do the analysis or to do the reporting. And once this is done, we create the reports and visuals, and ultimately we publish, share, and collaborate that in Power BI service. So this is how the basic workflow of Power BI is. Okay, this is how the basic workflow of Power BI is. And let us start getting some data from different data sources, and let's start making our hands dirty as far as using Power BI is concerned. So I'll open a completely new instance of Power BI. Okay. Now, first of all, let me tell you, there are different storage modes in Power BI. Now, when I say storage mode, I mean the modes in which you can import the data into Power BI. So there is there's this mode which is called as import mode, where Power BI actually imports the data within Power BI desktop itself and stores it by compressing the data with the help of an engine within Power BI, which is called as Vertipack Compressor Engine. Okay, so here it basically brings the data within Power BI itself. And then there is direct query, wherein Power BI establishes the connection with the backend or the backend data source. And the data is not actually within Power BI, but data is still in the backend, let's say SQL, and Power BI just establishes the connection. And then there is this live connection, which is completely similar to direct query, apart from the fact that in live connection, we get the data which is in the cube form, or let's say the data which comes from the services like Azure Analysis Services or the softwares like SSAS. Okay. And then ultimately we have a dual mode or composite mode or hybrid mode, wherein some of the data is in import mode and some of the tables are from direct query mode. Okay, we'll go into detail with respect to differences between these two, but right now I'll start importing the data. Okay, so first of all, I have opened two instances. Okay, so first of all, let's try to get the data. And for getting the data, we need to open the Power BI. And here within the Home tab, you'll be having the Get Data option, which you're seeing here. And if you click on this downward arrow within Get Data, you'll be taken to this particular panel. And if the source from which you are supposed to get the data, if it's visible here, then you can select it from here itself. But if it's not available here, then you can certainly click on more. And if you click on more, you will be granted this screen wherein you will be having all the data sources that Power BI can connect with. Okay. So first of all, what I'd like to do is I'd like to connect it with a particular database, like let's say MySQL database. So I can either go here and you can try finding it like this, it's here, or if you can also search it here. Okay, let me search it, MySQL database. So I'm trying to connect it with MySQL. So I'll click on connect. And to do this, you need to make sure that your MySQL instance is running on, basically this server is in running status. If it's not in running status, then you will not be able to connect with this. Okay. And here it asks you to enter the server name. So basically the server name is this thing which you're seeing here, 127.0.0.13306. Can you see this?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So that we need to enter here, 127.0.0.13306. And after that, I'm supposed to enter the database name. So I'm trying to get a sales database from here. Okay. So I'll try that and I'll click on OK. So here, the tables which are available within the sales database, they will appear like this. Okay. So this is how we can get the data. And if I click on this, we'll be getting the preview of each and every table like this. Okay. Let me select all of them. Okay. And here you can see at the bottom, there are two important options. You can directly load them within Power BI. Or if you think that a certain bit of transformation is required, or the cleaning or certain transformation is required before you want to bring it within Power BI, then you can click on transform data. And when you click on transform data, you will be taken to all a new window altogether. And this window, we call it as Power Query Editor. Can you see this? It's a Power Query Editor. And this is the window wherein we can make the ETL within Power BI. Okay, like this. It's a different window. Okay. So right now I don't want to do that. I'll just click close and apply here. I don't want any transformation right now. I'm just trying to show you how to get data from different sources. So once this happens, all this data will be loaded within Power BI. And now you can see that those queries or those tables will appear here on the right side panel. Okay. So this is how we get from MySQL. Let me try connecting to some other sources as well. Like, for example, SQL
Postgres.
Server. Yeah. Yes, any doubt, please?
Oh, so I was asking Postgres server.
Yeah, Postgres server can also be done. Okay.
Okay. In a very same way.
In a very same way. Okay. The thing is, I don't have Postgres server installed in my system, but you can get the data from Postgres as well. Let me check whether it's available. It is available, I think. Yeah. PostgreSQL database. Okay.
Yes.
So
All of my data is coming from, in our organization, all of the data is coming from Postgres. ServiceNow, then Postgres,
yeah.
then SnowMirror.
Okay. So all those databases are available, whether it's Snowflake or ServiceNow or Postgres databases. Okay.
Okay.
You can get connected to them. So let me connect to something like a SQL server.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Can you also do Excel? Because the current project I'm working on, we have 3 Excel sheets.
Yeah, I'll bring that. Sure. Okay.
Okay,
Now
please.
see what I'm trying to show is how to connect to different types of data. So I'm trying to show you how to connect to a database. Then I'll go to flat files, and then I'll also try to bring the data from a particular website. Okay. Hope that will be clear. So in
Okay,
that
thank
way,
you.
you will be knowing how to connect to a particular kind of data. And I'll also explain about import and the direct query mode. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So the SQL Server database, I'm trying to establish
Sir,
connection.
what if we close the MySQL, then the data will collapse inside Power BI?
No, let me come to that as well. Right now, I have brought it in import mode. Okay. And when you bring the data from import mode, until and unless you refresh this data, can you see this refresh button here?
Yes.
Yeah. Until and unless you refresh this data within Power BI, no matter what happens in the backend, this will not be affected. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now let me try to establish the connection with, okay, SSM is not open.
So for practice also, we need to have SQL Server on our machine.
You see, just in order to connect with that, you need to have this. Yes. If you don't have SQL Server in your machine, you certainly cannot connect with it, right?
Okay. No, but for practice, I'm asking. Why I'm asking is because
See, what I'll do is
Mhm.
for the practice of all the transformations or the whole project, I'll be using simple flat files so that
Okay.
everyone can do that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now I'm entering the server name, and let me try to also try connecting with this. And here I'll be having various databases. Let me, yes, bring in AdventureWorks 2019. Yeah. And again, I'll be getting this in import mode. Now, if you see, I'll be taken to all the tables or views which are visible within the AdventureWorks 2019. Okay. So you can select the table which you want and you can bring it. Let me bring something which is of the transaction type, let's say sales order detail. And yeah, this is what we can see here. Okay. And yeah. We can load this here. Okay. And if I load again, those tables will be visible here. Okay. But let's say we want to write some SQL queries, and again, we want to bring a particular view into this. So we can write the SQL query as well. Like, let's say, for example, let me note it down, the name of the view, so that I can write the query for that. Sales dot sales order detail. And so, for example, I cancel this and I'll try to bring the data once again from the SQL Server database. And here, if let's say if I want to bring a specific view, okay, so there again I need to enter first this thing. I mean, so when I press the server name and which works 279. And here I'll go to advanced option where I can write the SQL query like select star from, let's say, sales order detail, where order quantity greater than 6, maybe. If I try to execute this and bring in the data, so this also should get executed. And okay, I think there is some problem with this. Is it the correct name? Yeah, I think I missed this thing. Now, can you see this? I'm being taken to a particular view within that sales order sales transaction table. Now here the thing is this sales, the order quantity is greater than 6. So you can write the specific queries and get the required view that you want within Power BI. Hope this thing is clear.
Yes, sir. Sir, you will
Yes.
specify like what we want.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So there, if you go to advanced options, as I showed you, there you can write the queries as well. Okay. So now let us also try to bring in some CSV or flat files and also try to bring in the Excel. So let me go to text or CSV first. And then if I look back at this, let's say I have one particular CSV file here. Okay. Now, if I click on this and I'll click on open. So basically you can see this, you will be taken to this particular CSV file. And again, you will be able to load or transform this. Okay, very simple compared to getting the databases. And again, if I, let's say, want to get an Excel workbook, so I can select this and yeah, I can get this. There's an Excel file in this. And if I connect to this, now it shows me what that Excel workbook consists of. It consists of only one sheet. And if there are numerous sheets, all those sheets will be visible here. And you can get the sheets that you want from that particular workbook. Hope this thing is clear, people.
If the Excel sheets are on, or the flat file are on 3 different locations, we can get the data again and again. I mean,
Yes,
3 times.
exactly. That we can do.
And shared location?
SharePoint, right?
Yes.
Is what you mean. SharePoint also can be connected with. And when you, let's say, I don't have the SharePoint online right now, but I'll show it to you anyways. Okay. If you go to this, you will be having the SharePoint option as well. SharePoint folder. This, you can connect to a SharePoint folder wherein you are supposed to enter the URL of that SharePoint folder. Okay.
Okay.
And URL only specific to that particular folder. Okay. Not to that particular file. So once you do that, everything within that SharePoint folder, you will get it here. Clear?
Okay. Not the direct file, but the folder location we have to give.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
Sorry, one question, like on that SharePoint, right? If you have multiple tabs, so you're saying that only select that particular tab, like, where, I mean, enter the URL for that, or I didn't get what you said about the SharePoint folder.
So basically you'll be having the access to SharePoint folder, right? And within that folder, you'll be storing different files when needed. Okay. So that folder URL you need to enter. And then what happens is you'll be taken to one more window where you're supposed to select the files from that folder. Okay.
Oh, okay. So you're selecting the main page of that SharePoint, right? That's what you're saying, the main
Yes.
page. Oh, okay,
Maybe.
okay, okay.
Okay.
Because you have multiple tabs, right? Okay, I see what you're
Yes.
saying. Thanks.
Okay. Now, so that's about getting from SharePoint folder. And then also let me show you, let me try to get something like Microsoft Access database. So that is available as well. So if you go to Access, and if I want to connect this, and okay. Different data sources. So if you see, I have one Access database stored with me as well. So even that can be gotten here. And if we click on that particular Access DB, then again we'll be taken to the number of tables or views that are available within that particular database. And if we want, we can get different views from this. Okay, so I'll load this. Okay, so this is how you can get the data from Access database now. And let me finally also show you one more source. Sorry. Like, let's say there is a, there is a website and you want to get certain data from that website, let's say files or basically tables. And if that website is publicly accessible, if those tables, they have made it accessible to public, then you can get the data from there as well. So let me show you that. So you need to go to more and web. If you go to this, you can enter that basic URL of that website. I think it's taking time to get connected.
Sir, what is the difference between this MySQL and this SQL Server managing thing?
See, MySQL is, it's a different tool. SQL Server is again the same SQL database, but it is from Microsoft. Okay. Similarly, we have Oracle DB as well, and that is the database which is again works based on SQL queries, but it is developed by Oracle. Okay. Similarly, we have Cosmo DB and other things as well. Okay.
Sir, is there a limitation to what the Power BI can import?
Limitation in the sense,
Like what can't it import?
see, as far as I have worked till now, it can import almost, it can connect to any database server. Okay, or any kind of data source. And in
Yes.
some cases, if it cannot directly, then we have things called as connectors as well. But as far as my experience goes, I have never faced a situation where Power BI was not able to directly connect with something. Okay, because nowadays you have some things like the virtual layers as well. So have you heard about the software called as Denodo?
No, sir.
So Denodo, what it does is, let's say your backend is something like SQL. So Denodo, it kinds of makes a virtual layer of it. And instead of connecting to SQL and the backend, you can connect it with a Denodo. Okay. So such things are available in the industries. Okay. So now
Yes.
I'm selecting these tables and I'm again trying to load it. Okay. So basically we have been able to connect with different kinds of data sources in this particular class. And yeah, this is important because whenever you face an interview with respect to Power BI, one of the important questions that they will ask is, what are the data sources that you have worked on? Okay. And when they ask this question, their main intention will be to see whether you have gotten that data into the Power BI or not, because the rest of the things, whether you do the transformation or anything with this particular data, once you have got this into Power BI, rest all will be same, whether it's a SQL or it's a CSV or flat file. The similar thing happens with all the data sources within Power BI. Okay, there's nothing
Right.
specific with respect to any specific data source. Okay, hope you got the point.
Yes, sir, a practical situation that has happened and that I've already worked upon. I want to ask you for Power BI. So if we have a flat file and a Postgres server and we want to make a connection of both of them, what I mean is
Hmm.
there are certain lookups that I want to see from that flat file
Hmm.
to Postgres server. Can we do that as well?
Lookup in the sense, do you want to establish the data model connection between the two, or what
Yes.
exactly you want?
Data model connection. So if I'm
Huh.
saying that I have
Yeah.
resource names in the flat file, and then Postgres server is giving me data about those resources, some data.
Yeah.
I mean XYZ
You can
data.
make a connection between different data sources as well here. Okay, not a problem. Once
Okay.
this, let me be once again very clear about this. Once all this data is within the Power BI, similar transformations can be done on all of this. You can connect with the tables. You can do similar transformations. You can make a data model out of all these tables which are from different data sources. That all can be done.
Perfect. Yeah. And the other part of this is uh, like, could you also please share this SQL server like data with us, so that, I mean, after this class, so that if that's not a,
I'll share the different data sources. I mean, data sources with you. But only thing is, you need to have SQL Server within your database.
right.
That
will.
all I'll be sharing. Okay,
Sure,
no
sure.
need to worry about that.
Okay.
And so this is about bringing the data within Power BI from different sources. Okay, so yeah. Next, we'll be talking about the difference between these two. Okay, in very much detail. Let me show you that. Okay, so first of all, as I said, in import mode, what we are doing is we are bringing the data actually into Power BI. Okay, so basically we are copying the data from whatever data sources we had in the backend from Power BI. And for that, you can see it here. This is actually visible in the data view. Okay, if I open each and every table, this table will be visible. Okay, and
Sir, data we got from MySQL is actually inside Power BI.
yeah, it is inside Power BI now. Okay, but that doesn't mean it's not in SQL. It is independently within SQL as well, but it's now in Power BI as well. Okay.
Yes.
And yes, let me tell you one more thing. The changes or transformations that you do here in Power BI, that those are not going to affect the backend or SQL. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now it imports as well. As I said, it also compresses the data by using the engine called as Vertipack compressor engine, which is the engine based on which the Power BI works. Okay, so basically it has brought in the data from different sources within the Power BI. Okay, and that you can see if you actually go on to the properties of this file and see the memory that this has. Okay, the size of this file, if you can check it, you can check it. It will be having all this data within itself. Okay, but let me show you, there is one other mode wherein you can just connect it with the backend without bringing in the tables into it. Okay, let me try showing you that particular thing. So I'll delete this. So first of all, is the import mode clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let me close this and let me open another instance of Power BI. Okay, Now, let me click again on get data and let's say SQL Server. And also I'll have to enter the server name again. And let me say AdventureWorks 2019. And here, instead of import, I'll select direct query. Okay. Now, when I do direct query, let's see what happens. See, again, I'll be taken to the tables which I want within the Power BI. I mean, within the Power BI, in this particular scenario, I say, I mean that to establish connection. Okay. So let me take sales order detail and let me take one more, this thing, the currency and some other thing like salesperson. Okay. Now let me directly again load this data. It'll take a bit of time to get loaded.
But now this data is being imported.
Yes, no. Just let me tell about that.
Okay.
It's not being imported.
Mhm.
It has just been established connection with. So this data which you're seeing, this is in the back end. This is not in Power BI now. Okay. And the way which you can distinct with respect to import mode is that in import mode, did you notice that we had all the three views visible? Report view, data mode, and data model view. Yes.
Right.
But here now, if you see, we have only two views. One is report view, and then there is only model view. There is no data view. We cannot see our tables in the data view when we import it via direct query mode. Okay. If we use direct query mode, this data view will not be present. Okay. The meaning is here we have just established the connection with the backend SQL server. Okay. And one thing about this is whatever changes happen in the backend anytime, those will happen here as well. Got the point?
Live connection.
Yes, like live connection. Okay. But in Power BI, the live connection is different in the sense that the data which you can bring from the live connection is in the cube form, like analysis services. Okay. But here, virtually it's same. You need not refresh it. Okay. Because whatever changes you do in SQL backend, those will be immediately visible in this mode. Okay. So this is the prime difference between direct query and import mode. Any doubts about this thing?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll go on to talk about the more differences, which are very important for us to know. So if we look into the main differences, okay. So in Power BI, as I told earlier, you have free license, premium license, and premium per user license. There is also, yes, pro license as well. Free license, pro license, premium per user license, and premium per capacity license. Now, the thing about that is, in import mode, the size of the data, or basically your PBX file size, PBIX file, one Power BI file, desktop file size can be 10 GB if you have premium per user license. Okay. But in direct query, there's no such limitation. Okay. There's no such limitation as far as direct query is concerned. Then we have one very important thing, that is in direct query, we should have the data from single source. Okay. Whether it is SQL or any other database, it should be of single source. Whereas in import mode, we can use data from multiple sources like I did earlier. But so is not the case when we use direct query mode. Okay. And As far as performance is concerned, import mode is highly efficient and it is high performing. Let me tell you why. This is because when we use the import mode, the data is within Power BI. Okay, you need not establish any connection with any other software. But whereas when you are using direct query mode, the backend SQL server, it should be running fast. It should not be having any lag. If SQL server is down, it means that your Power BI is also down. So everything depends on how the backend database is running. Hope this point of difference is clear with everyone.
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no?
Sir, it's like having a movie on your own computer or using Netflix.
Yes, exactly. Okay. But the thing about that is also, it's not as simple as that. If usually Netflix works very fine if you have a very good data connection, but in Power BI, it's not that. Let me tell you practically what happens. Let me try opening. Do you have 5 more minutes or we have to
Yes, sir.
continue? Yeah. Okay.
Sir, I have one quick question, please.
Yeah.
When you talk about import versus direct query, right? So I know someone mentioned about live connection. So where does that fall under? Does it fall under import?
Live connection falls under direct query. Only the
Okay.
difference is that in live query, in live connection, you bring in the data from analysis services in the cube form. Okay. That's the only primary difference. But it is basically direct query. Okay.
Also,
Yes.
like as it is mentioned that single source. So previously I was asking that we cannot import a flat file and Postgres server together when we are in live connection.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, that's a big limitation then.
That is a very big limitation. And even though Microsoft tells that if your data size is huge, you are supposed to use direct query. But the problem with direct query is that it comes in with lots of limitations. So practical scenarios in industries, nobody uses direct query. Even if their data size is more than 10 GB, they are able to use something like large data set option in premium user service, and they'll use direct import mode itself. Okay. So generally direct query, nobody is using, especially if the amount of customization that you're supposed to get from the reporting end, if it is more, then certainly everyone will be going for import mode. Okay, so that's for sure.
Yeah.
So let me try opening a particular file. Let's see. And this particular difference I'm telling you because in one of my previous projects, the business end, they asked me to try direct query once, but immediately after 2 days, we reverted back to import mode. I'll tell you the reason why, what happens in direct query. So in that particular scenario, what was the case is, we had data of around 20 million rows, which was coming through one particular table. And instead of using import mode, they asked me to try direct query because Microsoft suggested them that, because the companies, they will be also in contact with the Microsoft, because they'll be having the license, and some technical people, they will be in contact with the companies, and they suggested them that. But let me tell you what happened in that particular scenario. Right now, you're seeing how much time it's taking to load. This is in
Right.
import mode. It's not much time, right? It is loaded quite quickly. But when I used direct query, what happened was, these visuals, they were taking time, like, let's say, almost 2 minutes, 3 minutes to get loaded. Okay. So that is a big concern as far as business end is, dependent on. Okay. It should not be that slow. And if again, the SQL server, which is in the backend, if it's down, then these visuals will not appear at all.
Right.
Are you getting the concern? So
Yes.
that's about the performance issue, what I'm talking about when we are discussing in this point. Okay. Now, let's come to next point. This I explained to you earlier. If the underlying data changes, nothing changes in import mode until and unless you click on refresh button. Hope this is clear. Until and
Yes.
unless you manually refresh the data in Power BI, nothing changes when you are using import mode.
Sir, so
Whereas if you are using direct query mode, you need not refresh the data. It gets refreshed itself when the underlying data changes. Okay.
Sir, so if you close right now MySQL, so it would basically if you change something in MySQL and close it, so it will not show anything until we put refresh in Power BI.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, and yeah, this is a very important thing, the scheduled refresh thing. If you have premium per user license, or basically if you have premium license, you can at max do 48 refreshes per day. Okay. Whereas if you have direct query, you can make almost, I mean, you can do almost any number of refreshes per day. It doesn't have a limitation. Okay. Because as the underlying data changes, this changes as well. Okay. But when you have import mode, still you can do 48 refreshes per day if you have premium license. Okay. Now here come all the limitations of the direct query. The limitations are data transformations when you are when you're using import mode, it supports all types of transformations. You can use Power Query Editor to its full capacity. But here, if we are using direct query mode, then it has some limitations, some transformations you cannot do within direct query. Okay. And importantly, when it comes to usage of DAX, now DAX they say is heart of Power BI. If you are good in DAX, you will be good in Power BI reporting. And the problem with direct query is that direct query mode does not support all the DAX functions. And importantly, it does not support time intelligence functions. So using something like YTD functions, MTD functions, or same period last year functions, those are not available if you are using direct query mode. So this is one of the very big disadvantages of direct query. Okay. And calculated tables are supported in import mode. Calculated tables are not supported in direct query mode. And yeah, there are again these differences. Okay. Quick insights are available. Quick insights are not available. I'll be telling you what are quick insights in Power BI. Don't worry about that right now. But yeah, and also you cannot change the import to direct query connection. Okay. Whereas if you have used direct query, you can change it back to import mode, but this thing is not available. Hope the differences are clear to everyone.
Just one question, because I was trying to compare Tableau because I've been working on that with Power BI. So your import, right, is similar to the extract, right? Is it similar because you already have a live connection and then you have extract. So extract and Tableau works similar to import then?
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah, because you said, right, you have to schedule, like you can only have 48 scheduled that doesn't refresh directly. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. That's what it is in Power BI. Okay. So this is about connecting to different sources, okay, as far as Power BI is concerned. And yes, in tomorrow's class, we'll be starting with the Power Query Editor part, where we'll be doing the ETL within Power BI, and we'll try to explore what all can be done and what all can't be done within the Power BI ETL tool, that is Power Query Editor. So I think I'll stop the sharing.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sir, if we connect into an Excel file and it imports the data into Power BI, and then we close the Excel file, but we regularly update that Excel file. So every time we will press the refresh button in Power BI, it will automatically update itself.
Exactly. It will automatically update. Okay.
Okay.
You need if you are using Excel files or flat files, you need to press refresh button, else it will not. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Refresh schedule will also work in this case, or
yeah, it will work in Excel case as well.
Okay.
So
and will you be sharing this deck with us, the PowerPoint stuff that you're sharing?
Yeah, I will be sharing. Yeah, sure.
Okay, please. Yeah, because I'm trying to, in my group, right, I'm trying to do a comparison between Tableau and Power BI. So I think I picked up some good points that you shared over here. So this will be really helpful for me. Yeah.
Sure, I'll be sharing.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
So I'll be stopping the recording.